The beginning of the village from the site of Balakleya. The village is very old, so it is called. It is mentioned in documents from 1622. This is where the Konovo-Utnikovo begins. It used to be the village of Bereznik, which stretched all the way to the former Smilyansky state farm. Oaks of Male Starosillya, which were cut in 2008. They would be 370 years old now. They were planted by monks in honor of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, who gave them permission to build the Vinogradorsky monastery and named it Bogdan Alley. In 1648, Bogdan Khmelnytsky went from Smila to Korsun and visited Mr. Dolan, whose estate was right behind the oaks. There was also a folwark nearby, which was located on the site of the former Smilyansky state farm. Behind the oaks in the forest is a mound cemetery of Citician times. At the end of the 19th century, there were up to 300 separate mounds graves. On the left is a common grave in Gromov Field. Immediately behind the oaks flowed the river Buzyanka, and it flowed from the track tower. The Smilyansky state farm was located on this place. Now there is a sawmill. Nearby mass grave, post office, club, shop, first aid station, kindergarten. In front of you is a round mountain. Its height is 156.4 meters. Ancient Kona Romania, Jewish cemetery, the highest field, which is called Radishche. On the right, the road to the Stregstein cavern. There used to be a pond. People went there to swim and fish. To the right of the forest, below, is a common grave. Next to the right, it was once a watermelon and a poultry house. And then there was also a pond. There were a lot of fish there, especially carp. Further in the forest is the Tebro tract, where the last monk of the Volodarsky monastery, who was murdered by bandits. At this place there were 5 mills. There were already 3 of them in the war. A and 2 planes once landed on this field. Sharapuha's Corner. There is an eco trail for tourists. Mount Cesina. Its height is 161.5 meters. During the war, a German cannon was stationed here. In front of you is Hrebenivsky Yar. Semerenko often came from Mliev to Ivanik to rest here. All the mountains used to be cultivated, sown with rye, wheat and other crops. In front of you is the Kharkova Hora. Its height is 159.8 meters. During the war, 6 scouts were killed on this mountain. There used to be a brickyard behind the Kharkova Gora. There were 3 mills nearby, and this is the corner of the Zulekha. At the exit from Hrebenivsky Yar and the Zulekha, there was a large production facility where wheels for carts were also produced. Nearby, we see the Obelisk of Glory, the village council and cemetery, the old shop, the mass grave, the school, the pond. The plateau behind the cemetery is 161.8 meters high. On the left, you can see the Mount Pugalov. Its height is 164.1 meters. This is also an ancient settlement, the times of Kievan Rus. Next, you can see the May Mountain. Under it is a church. The highest point of the mountain is 202 meters. There are 2 mass graves, the grave of 2 women who were murdered by Germans. Even further, there is another grave. One road leads to the tract of Pusha. The other road leads to the farm Vovchi. Behind the May Mountain is the corner of Gliboka, the source of Yeremane. There are 3 graves of soldiers in the forest. Next is the second burial mound, which consisted of 2 mound groups. 8 mounds were excavated by Bobrinsky. Next, we see Budyanske forestry. Then begins the village of Buda Orlovecka. opposite across the road is a track or salve, where many years ago people lived. Also there it was a pond. Now there is a source or salve. Above the field you can see an old forgotten cemetery. Nearby there is a small group of trees, Hrushevsky farm, and to the left Vovchi farm.